What's going on, everybody? It is the Tortoise General here, and in today's video I will talk about the leopard tortoise and the tips of care it needs. This is going to be a little bit of a longer video, but it is super important to watch from the beginning to the end because it is a very, very good video full of information. So it's important for all the beginners out there because technically this video is aimed for the beginners that are just getting their leopard tortoise. So there's plenty of information and where to start off. I put a lot of effort into this video. I made a whole PowerPoint about it. So if you could leave a like, that would be awesome. Leopard tortoises are quite calm tortoises. They do like to climb, although my leopard tortoise likes to climb, but that obviously depends on the tortoise. The only problem is with leopard tortoises is that they are quite sensitive to incorrect temperature. So if there's a change at night, they will impact on this very negatively. They will start to get sick, they won't eat, and I've had to go several times to the vet because of this, because my temperatures weren't correct. So it's super important that you nail down the temperatures, and I'll speak about temperatures later on in the video. Your leopard tortoise's behavior will change as it gets older. For example, my leopard tortoise, he hated everything I gave to him apart from romaine. That's all he would eat, and now he will pretty much eat anything I serve him. So, they do change. So like I was saying, leopard tortoises are quite sensitive to incorrect temperatures, so it is extremely important that you monitor these temperatures daily, so that there is the correct temperature in your tortoise's enclosure. So as you guys can see here, the temperatures that I would recommend are 24 to 28 degrees Celsius, which is about 75 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Nighttime temperatures 20 to 22 degrees Celsius, which is 68 to 71 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's extremely important that the temperature should never drop below 20 degrees Celsius, because then your tortoise will become sick the next morning and he most likely won't eat anything. And then that's when the trip to the vet comes. So it's best to avoid that and to monitor that, the temperature during the night is above 20 degrees Celsius, but not obviously preaching 22 degrees. And then the basking temperature should be around 32 degrees Celsius, which is around 91 degrees Fahrenheit. 91 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit is perfect for your leopard tortoise. So as you guys can see here, his heated height is around 26 degrees C. And then his basking is 34 degrees C. And then his ambient temperature is 27 degrees C. So as you guys can see here, leopard tortoises are a desert species of tortoise, so they don't need high humidity. But this is where you're wrong. Leopard tortoise hatchlings actually need high humidity, like any hatchling. Any tortoise hatchling needs high humidity. I recommend around 70%. And then for the well-started babies to about a yearling, I recommend about 60%. And then from yearling to about juvenile, I would recommend around 40-50%. And then, an adult would be around 30-40%. This is the 80-80 rule. You can pause the video to read more about it. The diet is super, super important to nail down. Leopard tortoises come from southern Africa, so their diet should mainly consist of grasses, hay, and fresh weeds, or even flowers. So a lot of people buy grocery store produce for their tortoises, for their leopard tortoises. This is okay, but in small amounts, because grocery store produce is quite high in water and not high in dietary fiber. So it shouldn't be avoided, but, you should include more grasses and more weeds, as the tortoise will benefit from eating these rather than eating that spring mix or that, those romaine hearts that you buy in the grocery store. Now, obviously, if you start feeding your tortoise for your leopard tortoise for the first time weeds and grasses, it will definitely won't nibble on it. It might try, but it won't like it. So that's why you can add in some romaine hearts, add in the foods that it likes, to get him more interested into it. But as you guys can see here, I recommend about 70% grasses or hays, and then about 30% weeds, and a small percentage of flowers if you want to. Alright, so a little example of what Billy's having today. So Billy's going to be having a little bit of romaine just to get him more interested. So just a little bit of romaine for Billy just to get him interested. And now we move on to the weeds. So weeds in a leopard tortoise's diet should mainly be about 30%, as I said previously. And then the 70% should be grasses or hays. So I have a good bundle of weeds, as you guys can see here. I have some plantain. I have some cat's ear with a little bit of grass as well. So this is where the grass comes in. Just more grass in here. But we have some hawksbeard, some more plantain, some dandelion, a few pansy flowers, and even some clover there that he loves. So I have some of the weeds in there. Now we move on to some mulberry. Billy loves mulberry. Here's a little small mulberry leaf. So I'm going to add some mulberry and a little bit of hibiscus for him. And then I think we're all set to go. We move on to the hibiscus plant. Beautiful flower here. And these 3 flowers unfortunately faded off. But we're going to grab some leaves for Billy and then feed him this goodness. Now this is everything I'll be feeding Billy today. This is what you should feed your tortoise daily. Obviously change it up. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and soak him now. And yeah. So a lot of people obviously buy grocery store produce for their tortoises, for their leopard tortoises. So if you do go buy some grocery store produce for your tortoise, I recommend getting some escarole, some romaine, some radicchio, some endive, lamb's lettuce. And leopard tortoises also should eat lots of dark leafy greens. So I recommend kale, bok choy, collard greens as well. A lot of tortoise keepers don't like to feed kale to their leopard tortoises or tortoise in general. But I personally don't mind feeding kale. I don't feed it to my leopard tortoise that often, but it's fine to feed in a very, very small amount. And obviously there are some foods that should not be given to your tortoise. So cabbage, broccoli, peas, iceberg lettuce, corn, cauliflower, and celery. I've seen loads of tortoise keepers feed their leopard tortoises peas or iceberg lettuce. Iceberg lettuce is extremely high in water and there's barely any dietary fiber, and peas are just a no-go. You should not feed peas to your tortoises, to your leopard tortoise. Plants in your tortoise's enclosure is extremely important as it obviously lines the whole enclosure up and brings that naturalistic feel and look. So you can see, if you read down below, some of the plants that I would personally recommend for your leopard tortoise. Alright, so we move on to the plants. So the plants that should be in your leopard tortoise's enclosure really just depends on what you're interested in. But I personally have a terrible experience of keeping any sort of flowers, sort of winter flowers like pansies. In my opinion, the best plants that you should have in your tortoise's enclosures is succulents or cacti. Those do phenomenal because they can withstand the heat. Spider plants are actually pretty good as well, although as you guys can see here, they do get quite crispy on the ends. But they still do pretty well. I do have a nice parlor palm here. That one's doing pretty well. Another little cactus over here. But other than that, you should really have succulents and cacti in your tortoise's enclosure. Maybe a few little spider plants or parlor palms. Hibiscus is good. Any sort of exotic tropical plants that can withstand heat or high temperatures is good. So the estimated growth for your leopard tortoise, ranging from hatchling all the way to adult, is around 2 to 4 inches per year. It is obviously very important that, at the age of 4 to 5, you'll be able to sex your tortoise if it's a female or a male. My leopard tortoise is about 2 years old, and his estimated weight gain is around 500 grams per year. So he is about 1 kilogram now. He is quite heavy, and he's still going to continue to grow. He's only 2, so, that's good news. So the supplements that I would recommend for leopard tortoise would be, any sort of calcium. I would recommend personally the Zoomed Repti Calcium. It's very, very good. That's what I give to Billy. There are some other ones from Zoomed, such as the Vitamin and Mineral Booster, the Reptivite. That's pretty good as well. You should give your tortoise calcium pretty much every other day. That's what I give to my leopard tortoise. I give him calcium every other day. I just sprinkle it on top of his food, and that does the trick. So for the calcium, I use Repti Calcium by Zoomed. It works phenomenal with D3 as well. It works really, really well, and Billy loves it. And this is what it looks like inside. Nice white powder. I like to also give this to Billy every once in a while. It's a zoom out tortoise block. It has a punchia cactus and some calcium, obviously, and a few other things that are essential for your leopard tortoise. Leopard tortoises in the wild forage for different types of foods. So what I would personally recommend is to spread out a bunch of leaves and other weeds or grasses even around your tortoise's enclosure. This obviously unlocks foraging behavior in your tortoise and also brings his excitement levels up, gets him more interested and brings his activity levels up. I always like to leave a bundle of weeds on his second feeding slate when he comes down his steps, and this always excites him. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and comment. If you have any more questions on leopard tortoises, make sure you drop them in the comments down below, and I'll happily answer them. Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next video.